Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well. This is Kenya Revolutionary for another quick live session to speak to you, nation, just to, explain something to you, something that most of you probably know, and some of you are just getting in tune or up to date of what's going on in Kenya. Karibu sana, karibu sana. If this is your first time here, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. I talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So if you like that kind of content, this is a place for you. Just go ahead and subscribe and share it with your friends, this video, and like the video. And make sure you hit that notification bell. So every time I come in, you can always find me here. I'm Anam Nagani. All right. And if you're already subscribed, you know the first order of business is to do what? Like the video. Sawa, let's just quickly get into it. The biggest news this past week, basically, it's Ruto, hugging it up, making it up, cheesing it up with none other than his Kalenjin bloodren, um, Gideon Moi. For those of you who live under a rock, Gideon Moi is the son of the former president who ruled Kenya for the past 24 years, since 1970, I don't know what, 94, I think, 79. When did Kenyatta die? Jomo, whatever, till 2002. Okay, so this guy, Gideon Moi has been sort of like a bigwig in the Kalenjin community by the virtue of being the son of the, former president, Daniel Torochich Arap Moi, okay? So, he was supposed to run in Baringo for the senatorial seat, I guess, I believe, or MP or something like that, okay? And he decided to step down so that the UDA guy can be the only candidate, okay? And decided to join Ruto, his brother, his fellow Kalenjin brother, okay? Which, okay, on the surface level, there's nothing really wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if, Kalenjins get together and say, hey, this is who we want to, put forth to be the MP of whatever the case is. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But here's the thing, though. When Ruto came out the next day, a few days later, and explained that he wants to move Kenya to a first world nation country, and he also highlighted the fact that he consulted or talked to Uhuru Kenyatta, who's another son, a brat, Jomo Kenyatta's brat, who was spoon-fed and rigged himself to become the president of Kenya twice in 2013 and 2017. Then he also said that he consulted and, seek counsel from none other than Conman Raila Odinga, who's another son of one of the founding fathers of this nation, Oginga Odinga. And then now here he is bringing Gideon Moi to the fold. Now, it proves my point. I've been saying this for a long time. These politicians, whether the ones in the opposition or the ones in power or who are having elective seats, these folks who are in, Ruto, who is in the head of the executive branch, and all the, the bigwigs, so to speak, okay? The folks that we perceive to be above the law, the billionaires, the corrupt elite, the political class, whatever term you want to use to describe them. These guys work together. Moi and Jomo Kenyatta never actually ceded power. They're still in power. I know you're asking yourself, what do you mean? These guys are dead. We don't have any. No. They're still in power. The dynasties are still in power. Ruto becoming president, I've always told you guys this, okay? When he was running as a, hustler versus dynasty, you remember that's kind of that's a dichotomy that they kind of presented us with. Oh, it's hustlers versus dynasty. It was kind of genius, okay? It moved some of us to think that this was a class war, okay, against the haves and the have-nots. And in Kenya, we understand the disparity between the poor is huge. And that's what's been going on. So the poor are working so hard to try to win these political elective posts, whether senatorial seat, gubernatorial seat, parliamentary seat, MCA seat, all these elective posts, because they know that's the fastest ticket to becoming a millionaire or a billionaire in Kenya, okay? That's why people in Kasipul want to kill themselves, or they are shooting each other, killing themselves, maimed, threats, all that stuff, terrorizing each other, the community as a whole, just to win that ticket to run for an MP seat or whatever seat they're running for, okay? You can see why elective posts are hotly contested, okay? They're a deadly affair. It's a deadly contestation, okay? When people are running for these elective seats, because it's the fastest way to become rich, okay? That's why everyone and his mama is running for a public office, okay? Immediately somebody gets some kind of fame, they're running for elective post, okay? Because they know once ukifika hapo, you know, you'll be famous, you'll be called Mheshimiwa, there's a flag in your car, you get some SUVs, you get some, you know the drill. Just go look at all these elected, Sakaja and others, these clowns that became billionaires overnight. But let me get back to the point that I do not want you to miss, okay? Ruto the hustler just wanted to be part of the dynasty. Again, Ruto, when he was campaigning, he was telling us that he's a hustler. He wants the kids of people who their parents were not well known to become somebody. He said that he wants to be the reason, a proof that a child who is from a nobody, have a humble beginnings background, whose father is not known, is not one of the forefathers, okay, can actually make it and become president, okay? This is what he sold to the Kenyan people. But now we see 2-3 years into his presidency, he's actually cheesing it up and embracing the very dynasty that he was painting as people who were spoon-fed and grew up rich and were actually used to, straddling around the corridors of power in Kenya. Okay? And my argument is this, ladies and gentlemen. When Mzungu left Kenya in this fake independence in 1963, they never actually left power. You understand that. If you know, you know. I do not have to rehash this. You know that. The Kenyatas, especially the Kenyatta family, was left as was appointed to be the governor of this state, to chaperone these Africans in this place called Kenya, okay? Of course, Kenyatta, he had to form government. They had to have something called government, so that it seems that Africans have some level of democracy. I chuckle when I hear people talk about Kenya as a democracy. On paper, it is. It's a full-blown dictatorship, okay? But that's not where I want to go with this. Just follow me. Just follow me for a second, okay? So Jomo Kenyatta and his coterie of criminals went ahead and usurped power, and you know the story. Wakaanza kunyakua and all this stuff, okay? Then he died in 1979 or something, whatever the case is. He died and Moi took over, who was his vice president, okay? Moi took over and continued, as a British stooge, very trusted. The Reagan administration actually approved of Moi. He went and met Reagan in White House late 80s, okay? So Moi was loved by the Western regime. And Moi, after age caught up with him, and finally, people were getting anxious, were tired of his 24-year rule. Time came, he tried to put Kenyatta, Uhuru Kenyatta that is, to continue. Because remember, these oligarchs only trust themselves in this continuation of colonial rule, indirect colonial rule, okay? Our colonial masters, immediate chaperones, supervisors, overseers of this land this British company called Kenya, are having black faces, okay? The real ones are in England, okay? Britain, okay? The King of England, whatever the case is, King Charles, whatever the case is, okay? But the ones who are acting on his behalf in this territory that they own and run are these minions that you see, the oligarchs in Kenya, okay? These criminal elites that we call political class, okay? The Railas, the Uhurus, the Gideon Moyes, these families, okay? So these guys are still ruling. So hear me out. Hear me out. Listen carefully. I'm walking you through this, and I want you to see what I'm trying to explain here. Jomo Kenyatta was the first president of Kenya, right? Jomo Kenyatta died, and power was passed on to Moi. Go look at those two. There's a YouTube video confirming that these two first, both Jomo and Kenyatta were both Freemasons. There's a Masonic celebration when Moi was being indicted by the night whatever of what's it called, Malma, whatever. I forgot, but it's there. I've played it in my previous video. Moi was actually a Freemason. Jomo was a Freemason too. Uhuru was a Freemason too. But Kibaki was. But let me walk you through this. Okay? I want you to get the point. I don't want you to miss the point, okay? Don't miss the point. Jomo Kenyatta dies, okay? Then Moi takes over. Moi was trusted by the West. Moi did his bid 24 years in, and he wanted to return the favor because, like I say, they have to have this power concentrated, and they have to entrust this company called Kenya that we call a republic. They have to put it in the hands of somebody they trust in order to continue with the agenda of doing what? Extracting minerals, dominating, and all that stuff. You know the story, okay? The same thing France is doing in the West Africa. But stick with me here, okay? So Moi finishes up in 2002, and the entrusted person, the person that they entrusted to continue with this British colonial rulership over Kenya, indirectly by using these Freemasonic colonial minions, the black faces, African faces, the next person in line was Uhuru Kenyatta. They had to keep it within these two families. But the people, the who? The people were not going to have that. The ground was hostile against the people. I mean, these two families. They were like, we cannot be, handing over power from this family to the other. Moi to Kenyatta, Moi to Kenyatta, Moi to Kenyatta. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. No. No. That's what Kenyan said in 2002, because Moi endorsed Uhuru Kenyatta to return the favor, so it stays within these two families. But the people say, no. And Raila, he smelled the coffee and he was like, you know what? I'm not going to miss the party. So he pretended Kibaki Tosha, right? Because the people were with Kibaki. I keep on telling people Kibaki was going to win whether Raila was to endorse him or not. He was going to win. So anyway, so there you go. Kibaki becomes president and everyone is happy and all this stuff. Kibaki gets into an accident right before becoming a president. We have to, people miss this. But anyway, let me not take you to that. My conspiracy theory on that. But anyway, so Kibaki becomes the president, right? He's the president. 2 years into his rule, Kibaki faces a lot of challenges, okay? Again, if you think about it, when Kibaki became president, he had good ideas. He wanted to really, I honestly think Kibaki, when he first started, he really wanted to change this country, okay? Because the people, he had the will of the people. So he wanted to, do the right thing, improve the lives of Kenyans, improve the economy, infrastructure, free education, all that. We saw that, right? Did we not? Yes, we did see that. But again, like I said, even though Kibaki disrupted this Moi, Kenyatta rulership dynamics, okay? He had to be sat down somewhere in a dark room somewhere by the Brits, okay? Walikuja wakamkalisha chini. Now, this is conjecture on my part, but I'm telling you why I'm saying this, all right? Circumstantial evidence will be provided here. He had to be sat down and they had to explain to him, hey, listen, Mr. Kibaki, we understand that you want to do something for your country, which is a noble cause. We understand that. You are nationalistic, patriot, all these wonderful things. But Mr. Kibaki, Emilio, do not get this shit twisted. You don't rule over here, sir. We, the British, own you. We, the British Empire, own you, Kibaki. This is our private property. This Kenya you see here, you guys are just living there. You're renting the place, okay? You're renting the place. Don't ever get it twisted. You see that accident that happened there? We spared you. You got lucky. So do not get this shit twisted. You do not run this place you call Kenya. We run it. Okay, Kibaki? And Kibaki was, no, listen, 24. I'm just trying to do something. Why? I'm just trying to do the right thing. I want my people to get off poverty and all this stuff. We don't care. Our interest has to be met. We have to keep on extracting and doing all this stuff. Okay? And after that, Kibaki was still kind of like, no, I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep on helping these people no matter what. Oh, really? Okay, let's see. You think you are there because the people voted for you? We can take you out anytime. So here we are. We had, politics happened as it happened. Kibaki got surrounded by some criminals, people who had their own interest, who were looking to become billionaires, to loot the country on their behalf and set him up for what happened in 2005, which was a referendum. Okay? Referendum happened. And we had that orange movement pop up. And by 2007, through the NGOs and all this stuff, Kibaki was one of the most unpopular presidents by 2007. Okay? Just under 5 years, this guy, everyone was tired of him. Okay? Right? So anyway, 2007 happens, and Kibaki lost. He lost. I mean, let's not even play around this issue. Kibaki lost overwhelmingly. Okay? Then chaos ensued after that. Okay? We know what happened. Chaos ensued. And the diplomats were busy, and the first group of diplomats, the American ambassador and the British High Commissioner, they ran to Kibaki and they sat him down again. And they told him, they passed a message from the Queen of England at the time. The Queen of England was still alive. They sat Kibaki down and told him, hey, Kibaki, Emilio, we're glad to meet you. We see the country is in shambles right now. People are killing each other. You lost elections, actually. You actually lost the elections, okay? We told you we're going to get you out, right? We told you we are going to get you out. And Kibaki was at that point defeated because they were telling him basically, hey, listen, Kibaki, we told you we are going to get you out. But here it is. I know you want to stay in power. You've enjoyed all this wonderful, trappings of power, the red carpet, the security, all this stuff, whatever. Yeah, you're being treated like a king, right, Kibaki? Yes, sir. So here's the deal, Mr. Kibaki Emilio. We will let you stay as the president of Kenya, but on one condition. One condition. There shall be a government of national unity where Raila Odinga shall be the prime minister, okay? And you guys will have a new constitution, right? But listen, we as the British who own Kenya, we don't care about the constitution and all this stuff. That stuff doesn't mean nothing. That's our personal business. We don't care about all that. You guys can scramble and do all that good stuff. We don't care. But here's the thing, Emilio. You shall do whatever we say. Is that okay, Kibaki? You can finish your tenure. You can stay president from 2007 or 2008 forward and finish your tenure in 2013 on one condition. Because we've already proved to you that we can take you out anytime. We can do it democratically. We can either make things happen to your life where you won't be existing anymore, or You see those buddies and your friends over at in the military? We do train them. You know that, right? We train those guys. And some of them have been dreaming about becoming heads of states. So we can use them to actually take you out. So which one do you prefer? Are you willing to do whatever we say and finish your tenure after 10 years, after 2000, up to 2013? And Kibaki acquiesced to the British demands. And afterwards, we have government of national unity. Okay? Now, Kibaki finished his tenure in 2000 what? 2013. Now, remember, the power, the chaperones, the people who are ruling Kenya, the British only trusted who? The Kenyattas and the Moi family. But Kibaki disrupted this as a result of a popular uprising against these two families. But they were able to sit down Kibaki and give him some conditions in order for Kibaki to finish his tenure, right? So the British Empire, okay, they did not want to make a mistake again. They were not going to let any kind of disruption, a president that is not trusted by them as Kibaki. So they had to turn to who again? They had to turn to who? Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the son of Jomo, who understands the modus operandi, understand the script, well-known Freemason, right? This is the son of Jomo. We trust him. He was groomed and taught the way he should act. He has all the connects through his mom and his brothers and his uncles and his friends with the son of the queen at the time, Charles, and the others. Understand? So Uhuru Kenyatta was brought to the fold in 2013. Regardless, he was facing ICC what? Charges in ICC, right? Go look at the kind of the Uhuru lawyers who are representing him. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is this. The British turned back to a trusted confidant, a stooge that will continue uninterrupted. Okay? The British were not comfortable with Kibaki. Okay? So, Jomo's son took over Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, didn't win the elections. Of course, the British have a hold on Raila Odinga, who has been playing the opposition all along. Raila Odinga is a CIA asset. If you understand the hierarchical order of geopolitical structure as far as the Western front is concerned, CIA, MI6, Mossad, those are one thing, okay? All right? So Raila is the asset who plays the opposition. He's there to, if the colonial stooge is out of hand, they use Raila to threaten or remind them that, hey, listen, if you're not sticking to the script, this mzee will take over, okay? And Raila understands that because at the end of the day, Raila gets his check. He's happy. He doesn't care because, like you saw in 2017, after the handshake, Raila didn't give a shit about Baby Pendo, Baby Mora, and all these people that were shot in Kondele, brutalized, yanked from their houses and butchered by Mungiki. He didn't care about that. He had his check and he went shopping. And he popped up in 2022 again, pretending that, oh, yeah, it was the Kulikuwa corruption, eh? Oh, okay, I'm running again, but guys, I forgot. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so anyway, 2013, Jomo Kenyatta, son, Uhuru, the drunkard, the insufferable, came and became president, was actually installed by the British, okay? They pretended all this nonsense about Sijui, there's Raila lost on a technicality, Sijui. Stop it. It's a bunch of nonsense, okay? This was just script that was It's a script. Okay. But anyway, so Uhuru Kenyatta is absolved from the ICC. Well, not really, but anyway, let's just use that. He got off the ICC with his brother Ruto. Okay, at that Ninio, on one condition, they were let go. The ICC was supposed to actually, they were going to be walikuwa naenda kufungwa. Okay, but again, ICC, you heard what Nani said. Was it this lady who was the former UN whatever? This lady, I forgot her name. She's Zimbabwean, who said ICC was made to actually execute African presidents who don't want to play by the script, the Western script. So, Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, before they became president, walikalishwa chini in a dark room somewhere with men in black. Remember when Putin always tells us about those men in black? But anyway, they sat them down and told them, hey, listen, you guys, we are going to let you guys go on one condition. I understand you guys are running for president back in your country, but we'll let this slide on one condition. Okay? Stick to the script. All right? So Kenyatta goes by, becomes president, and becomes president for 10 years. And in these 10 years, we can see the British hand on every decision policy by the Uhuru Kenyatta administration. The IMF policy. I told you the British, the Western powers. These IMF, World Bank, those are the tools they use to take advantage of developing nation in sub-Saharan Africa. Not even sub-Saharan Africa, developing nations, even South America, all through. Okay, those are the institution, international institution, the Bretwood institutions that are used by this globalist to actually control and oppress, extract, dominate the developing nations. Okay, so anyway, so if you look at Uhuru's tenure, it's riddled with IMF policies. There was borrowing, corruption, crime, name it. Okay, so Uhuru finishes his 10 years. The British are happy with him. Look at how many times the British High Commissioner have visited Uhuru personally in his house in Ishaweri. Anyway, pack that. 10 years he finishes. Guess who takes over from Uhuru Kenyatta? William Samoei Ruto. Okay? And now trusted confidant, trusted stooge by the British Crown and the Western powers. This guy was flown into that Paris climate bullshit, and he was sitting there next to, these musicians that were speaking. Remember that speech when people were saying, "Oh, he's like the next Obama" and all this stuff. I mean, I was just laughing at. I was like, go look at my old videos. I was telling you guys, people are talking about, "Oh, he's the next Obama, he's the next, I don't know." I was like, no, this guy is a clown. Ruto is a clown. You'll soon see it. Then he invited Bill Gates with all this GMO nonsense. Every move that he makes is, you can tell this is the IMF shit. Okay? But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is this. He's trusted by the Brits. He's trusted by the West to continue this policy. Go look at my X page. I used to say this all the time, but I like this. I think he was a professor, somebody who was in one of these Githeri media, said, the taxes in Kenya will always go up, will continue going up. Why? Because it is not even the president who wants these taxes to go up. These are IMF conditions. If you're going to borrow, because listen, the IMF and World Bank, they don't give you money so that you can develop. They give you money knowing that the officials of that country will misuse the money, and they want to keep you in debt so that they can have a right to control the minerals from your soil, the natural minerals that you have. That's the whole point. They give you a bunch of money, and they know that the people that they're putting this money in their hands are corrupt. That's why you see Murkomen wearing a shirt that is worth, I don't know, 50 million or whatever the case is. And he bounces around talking like a drunk pirate. Okay? It is by design. But the whole purpose of this, they can always come back and say, listen, you guys owe us, I don't know, how much do we owe? 12 trillion or 12 billion in dollars? They'll tell you that. And they know you can't pay it. So if you can't pay it, they'll tell you, oh, okay, then give us river tax. You have to privatize river tax. Give us pipeline. We have to privatize pipeline. Those are the kind of conditions. The same thing with these bilateral loans that we take with China, these concessional loans we take. Okay? China will give you loans and they will come to you. If you can't pay, they'll be like, hey, listen, you see this port that you guys have in Mombasa? We will be in control of it for the next 30 years. It will be part of China. That's what they're doing in Zimbabwe, Zambia, or whatever the case is. It's all over in Africa. That's the whole point of giving you these loans. Okay? So anyway, so what I'm trying to say to you is this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades. I know maybe you are lost in the sauce. Ruto the hustler just wanted to be the part of the dynasty. He's not different from the majority of these politicians that you see on the opposition. The Martha Karuas, the Matiangis, the Gachagwas, the Kalonzos. Name them, all of them, Jimmy Wanjigis. These guys, they just want a name for themselves, Cheo Nasifa, and all the trappings of power. Okay? These are the people who are selling us out. They're not different. They're not looking for real change. They've been proven to be linear. So, what I've been saying for years is this. I mentioned this. If you look at everybody on the opposition, Kenyan political opposition, the so-called opposition, they are people who literally work for Uhuru Kenyatta or Moi. All of them. They work for who? Uhuru Kenyatta or Moi. In fact, majority of them, I mentioned this. Gachagua used to be personal assistant to Uhuru Kenyatta. Matiang'i still works for Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta's minion. Kalonzo works for Uhuru Kenyatta. Eugene Wamalwa works for Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay? Who else? All of them. Martha Karua voted for Uhuru Kenyatta to be the Mudhamaki of Gema. They're all subservient to the Kenyatta family. Jimmy Wanjigi. Remember when Ruto said, hey, we need to have the Kenyatta family to pay more taxes? Jimmy Wanjigi came out and said, unashika wire, the live wire there. These people, all of them are subservient to the Kenyatta family. They're nothing but stooges. And I told you, the Kenyatta family are the richest, most powerful family in Kenya because the British Crown appointed them to be the overseers of this colonial state called Kenya. Raila Odinga, I don't know which cousin of his is married to the Kenyatas or whatever the case. They're doing business together. Okay? They go way back. The Oginga family and the Kenyatta family. Now, if you look at these politicians that are running for president, again, I will repeat to you, for those of you idiots who are talking about it, kura so that you can vote, I see you vote them out. You are not going to win. Because here's the trick. Let me tell you something with this trick about one term. I want you to listen carefully. Put the like there. If you look at Orodha of these people who are running for president in Kenya, they've made sure that the prominent, well-known names that are paraded as the alternative are safely proven thieves, colonial stooges who have been part of the system for a long time. People who have proven, tried and tested, working for the colonial powers. I'll repeat again. The trick in this Chukweni Kura, because majority of you are so silly, you're excited by the idea that there's a possibility that you'll remove Ruto or you remove Ruto. But you fail to understand the root of the problem. The problem will not stop with Ruto. I'm telling you. I'll say it slowly so you people at the back can get it. Majority of you, Karibu sana Gypsy Corner, nice seeing him. Majority of you Kenyans who are excited, screaming 1 term, 2 term, I don't know what term, half term, what term, you think, you get excited like little kids, thinking that voting out Ruto shall solve the problems of Kenya. When people are screaming, Uhuru, maliza uende. Uhuru alimaliza akaenda. What did Ruto solve? What did that solve? Uhuru alienda nyumbani. Remember, we were so tired of Uhuru. Tunasema, Uhuru maliza uende. Uhuru must go. Uhuru maliza uende. Uhuru came, akapora mali, akaiba, akaua, did everything that Ruto is doing right now and finished his term and left. So mnataka nani Uhuru aende? Uhuru left. What changed? What was the difference between Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto? What changed? Nothing. It's a continuation. When everyone was screaming, Moi lazima aende, which is fine. It was understandable. Kibaki akaingia. After 2 years into office, what changed? When Kibaki finished, okay, because people wanted Kibaki out because Ali by 2007, broad-based ikaingia, not broad-based, but the party of national unity happened. Okay, what changed? Nothing changed. We were happy when Ninio akaingia, Kibaki Uhuru akamaliza. Now you're doing the same thing. Zungushwa. Now you're doing the same thing. You're talking about Ruto must go, 1 term, sijui nini. What has changed? So common sense dictates that if you keep on voting for these individuals who rig themselves in these elections, okay, these what you call legacy politicians, these Kanu orphans, these yesteryear politicians, you get the same results. And look at how watertight the alternatives are presented to you. It's either Ruto or someone like Ruto who will continue with the Ruto's policies, right? So it's not different. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, okay? It's wameiweka in such a way that even if you remove Ruto, you are going to vote for somebody who will still do the same thing Ruto is doing. Okay? They'll just do it in a different degree. Like I say, the difference between Kenyatta and Uhuru Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto is the degree in which they are doing things. Wakina Ruto wanaiba ninio. wanaiba hadharani. Kenyatta was trying to kuifanya in a subtle way, but it's still the same. Unaelewa? So that's why I'm telling you guys, you keep on voting for the same people, and that's why I'm saying the system imewekwa in such a way that even if the British colonialists wameiweka in such a way that hata mkitoa Ruto na mwanze kufurahia ati one term, the person that you're going to vote in, whether it's Gachagua, whether it's Raila, whether it's Kalonzo, whether it's Martha Karua, whether it's Matiang'i, is going to do the very same thing Ruto is actually doing, if not worse. Because the policies will be the same. Because remember, it's the IMF who determines the taxes that you'll be paying, the policies, hizi mambo ya affordable housing, hizo ni IMF. Okay, the privatization bill that they are working on right now, hizo ni IMF. Unaelewa? Hii mambo ya kuambiwa ati you cannot grow natural seeds, this is IMF. Unaelewa? So that is why I keep on telling you guys that while you get excited over this one term, sijui nini, Ruto must go, which is fine. I want Ruto to go by all means. You are not solving the underlying issues. And these people are showing you, this political class, oligarchs, they're coming together showing you that they are one. Okay? Because how wanafanya tribal calculations. They know that tribe is the most powerful thing that moves people to the ninio. Waende wakavote. So wanajaribu ku consolidate these perceived tribal chieftains, okay, to be ndio mwanze kuwavotia. You see what I'm saying? Okay? Karibu Francis Irungu. Okay? So what I'm saying is this. You cannot overhaul the system, okay, by voting the so-called opposition to take power, because we'll be doing the same thing that we have been doing in the past 20 years. You're voting people who are just like Ruto. They only want to be part of the dynasty, so to speak. Ni mahasla politically. They want to hustle their way to presidency so that they can start also looting in large scale. I remember one person saying, there's a saying say that if you educate a thief, you're only increasing his capacity to steal. Unaelewa? So everyone is busy in Kenya want to be a politician. Why? Because that's a free, quick ticket to becoming a billionaire out of poverty. Kwa sababu utakuwa involved in corruption. Ndio maana nasema, this idea of chukua kura, mkapige kura on 2027 is silly. It's stupid. I'm sorry to say it. I know some people mtakuja hapa mniambia ati it's your democratic right. I understand all that. Huh? Mabri, I see you. Karibu sana. Mabri is saying, I like this comment. Let me just deal with it very quickly. Na nini yangu inakufa hapa, but so I'll... Mabri is saying, shida zote za Kenya zinatoka parliament. We can have Obama or Jesus Christ leading Kenya, but with the blind parliament, Kenya can't move. The MPs are enablers of bad leaders. Watu wachukue kura. I respectfully disagree, Mabri. I respectfully disagree. I get what you're saying, but I disagree. I often say that the problem is not parliament. The problem is not parliament. Absolutely not. I'll tell you why. I know ideally a parliament might be functioning. Should be functioning. But here's the thing. I will remind you. I want you to think of it like this. The main problem is in Kenya is the lack of respect for the rule of law. The law does not apply to all these people you call mheshimiwas. That's why they're fighting so hard to become mheshimiwas. They want to become MPs. They want to become MCAs. They want to become governors. They want to become president. They want to become senators. They want to become women rep. Because once they have that title of mheshimiwa, the law does not apply to them. So what is the problem? The problem is the lack of respect for the rule of law. Listen to me carefully. Mabri, listen to me carefully. Let me just highlight your Ninio. Let me highlight your comment one more time. The reason why I say the problem is not the parliament is because if we had law enforcement, real law enforcement, because the law is supreme. In a republic in its classic definition, it's a state that is ruled by the rule of law, governed by the rule of law. That's what a republic is, okay? So what I'm trying to say is this. If the law in Kenya, as it is, the Constitution, 2010 Constitution, and the laws therein are observed to the T as it's supposed to be, the problem won't be the parliament. The problem won't be the executive. The problem won't be the judiciary. The reason why I say the law is not being followed, it's because you have people who are violating the Constitution, starting from the president himself. The president violates the Constitution every day. No consequences. MPs, Mabri, now I'm coming to you. MPs who are there in that members of parliament, who are sitting in parliament today receiving salaries and sitting allowances. 95% of them cannot pass chapter 6 of the Constitution. They're in violation of the Constitution even before they get to that seat. Even before they sit in parliament. They're not supposed to be there, number one. But because of impunity, the lack of law enforcement, enforcing the laws as it should be, they are sitting there. You understand? How many MPs are sitting there and wamepiga mtu bunduki and they're still sitting there? How many MPs have been embroiled in New York crime? How many governors have been accused and the evidence have been shown that they are looting their counties, but they're still there? Mabri, are you listening? You see what I'm saying? That's why I keep on telling you guys the difference between developing nations and developed nations is the degree in which they respect the rule of law. The difference between Singapore and Kenya is not the economic difference that you see that they try to juxtapose against each other. The difference is the level of respect, how they adhere to the rule of law when it comes to corruption and crime in general. Unaelewa? The reason why Singapore became such a success, okay? Even China in the 1980s, who are now the leading global economic power, they came up with laws that were dealing with corruption. Whether you are you're a public official, elected official, whether you are the president, whether you're the vice president, if you are caught in corruption, you are to be executed. You understand? Wanakuua. The same thing with Singapore. Once that president identified that there was corruption that was making actually retarding the economic growth, He came up with laws that were stringent and made sure that anybody that breaks law, regardless of whether it's the president, vice president, or whatever, will be jailed. And that changed the culture, and it freed up the billions and trillions of money that were being lost due to corruption. Because now, if you're caught, you're corrupt, unaenda jela. Whether you're a judge, whether you're a member of parliament, whether you're a governor, whether you're the president. Mabry, you're missing the point, brother. You're saying, all right, let me tackle this real quick. I'm saying President Ruto without parliament is just a humble citizen. Kenya needs more sober. No. Even if you have 395 Okiya Mtatas in Senate. Look at these people who are running for Senate and in your parliament. Nani, Mabry, you're missing the point. Ruto is powerful as a president because he has bought the whole legislative body. Unaona? The parliament in Kenya cannot subdue Ruto. Of course, if we are to follow the law, I keep on going back to the law. If you are to follow the law, you'll be right. We would be having Ruto, who is a regular, humble president. But the law is not respected. Whether it's the parliamentarians, because everyone is out to make money. And they can buy their way out of trouble. So even if you put a new parliament, have a new parliament, okay? Vote in new parliamentarians. Ruto will simply buy them. Ataenda wanunue wote and he will do whatever he wants. So that is not solving the issue. The problem is not the parliament or parliamentarians or the legislative body. Unaelewa? Hata uweke parliament mpya, you are not going to solve the outer deal. You will not humble Ruto with a new parliament. Atawanunua. I mean, how did Gachagua get the deal? How did Gachagua got impeached? Sina liwanunua. Walikuwa offered 20 million, 50 million each, whatever million it was. You see what I'm saying? The problem is not parliament. What I'm saying is this. All levels, branches of government in Kenya is corrupt. You understand? All branches of government in Kenya, whether it's the judiciary, legislative body, or executive body, are all corrupt. Now, given that they're all corrupt, Ruto, who is the head of the executive, is able to blackmail, bribe, dominate, murder, or politically finish any of them who are supposed to be checking him, checking his power. Because he knows everyone is corrupt, so he can buy them and do whatever he wants. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they cannot do anything with Ruto. They cannot remove him. I hope I'm making sense. I'm trying. The system is rotten to the core. The system is rotten to the core. The problem is not parliamentarian. You can even put these young Gen Zs who are making noise talking about they want to become MPs. That's why I say this argument, Gachagua and others are saying that we need to put in more Gen Zs in power. They'll be just as corrupted because you're not addressing the underlying issue. You can put anybody there, but as long as there's no repercussions, there's no punishment, there's no accountability when it comes to law enforcement, it will continue. Whether you vote Gen Z's, Maraga, Matiangi, Musalia, whatever. I think we are speaking the same language. If Ruto can't buy parliament, he will be forced to act soberly, but he knows he has compromised them. That's why he is reckless in 2000. We need better. Yeah, I guess we are saying the same thing, but here's the difference, though. We cannot vote anyone under this corrupt, rotten system that we have. Understand? You can't go and chukua kura ati unaenda kupiga kura while everyone is corrupt. You understand what I'm saying? Hawezi kuenda kupiga kura and the options you have are all compromised. Nasikia Mabri. We are saying the same thing, but here's the difference, how to solve it. Because we have to look at how to solve it. And where I disagree with you is that you're arguing that tuende tukachukue kura tutoe hawa watu. But even if you vote new people, they will fall in the same trap because they understand that the system rewards criminality. The system rewards lawlessness. So after uweke our Gen Z, you shall have the same problem. So in order for you to solve this, everyone has to retire. Retired. Everyone. Kila mtu arudi nyumbani. And that is why we call that a revolution. It's constitutional. Article 1, subsection 2. The people can exercise their sovereign power indirectly or directly. And this time we want to do it directly. That is why I'm arguing that kwenda kuchukua kura ni kuharibu wakati. It's a game. You're not going to solve anything. It has to be a people's revolution. It has to be the people who stand up and demand that the Constitution is respected. And the first thing, they just don't demand that the Constitution is respected. They have to demand that everyone goes home. Everybody. Ruto and the whole executive branch. Legislative body yote. My governors wote. Then we start anew. But anyway, guys, it's been 1 hour and my phone, my whatever, my phone, my gadget, yeah, is dying. It's been a wonderful discussion. Gypsy Corner, nice seeing you. Francis Irungu, nice seeing you. Mabri, I appreciate your comments. Wonderful comment. I agree with you to some extent, not all the way. You can see the difference, but I see where you're coming from. So we have to understand that the problem is the lack of respect for the rule of law. There's no repercussions. There's no accountability. Thank you, Gypsy. So I'll leave it here. Next others talk. Okay. Mabri, next time I'll add you. I'll add you. Absolutely, I'll add you. Sawa. Kesho nitakuja alafu I'll add you so we can talk more on that. But nice seeing you guys. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, and do all the good stuff. I have to leave it here. I'm Anam Nagani. Peace and blessings, guys. I'll see you later.